And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Curry for the record.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard.
Hey, it is Wednesday, and tonight we get Bulls Hornets at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. This is the second time these two teams are going head-to-head this season. Last time it was all Bulls because they have the two-headed monster, Zach LaVine, and that guy, DeMar DeRozan. But for the Hornets, LaMelo can ball too. He's got his guy, Miles Bridges. It'll be a good one in Charlotte. And we will get you nice and comfy for tip-off. And, of course, you're going to watch this one. Before that, we got Hoop Streams coming to you live from Bristol, Connecticut in Studio E Lounge. Christine Williamson, Monica McNutt, Joon Lee, making his Hoop Streams debut. Welcome.
Welcome, Joon.
Welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me in.
No problem, no problem. I'm glad that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm also very glad that you are in the building with us. Because though Monica McNutt herself should be balling in the celebrity game.
Oh my God,
herself,
she really should be.
Oh
my God.
We have the celebrity all-star.
Listen.
Hey,
yeah.
in the building. Okay, people.
I appreciate you guys, but every time my friends and family are like tweeting this kind of stuff, I'm like, all I hear is the TikTok that's like the strong beginning of the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, and then it's like, boop, 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 as soon as I like shoot an air ball, and that's what I envision
So you want to
happening.
play is what you're saying?
No, I just need to get in the gym before I play, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
you just gotta get some reps in. But I would totally be down to hand someone my mic and lace up my sneaks.
Okay,
You should just sneak onto the court in the middle of the game.
I should just be in the middle of the court. Like, hey, hold this. Let me take a shot.
I got you. I mean, somebody on that celebrity all-star team is going to be significantly worse than whatever you would put out there. You already know.
most of the team.
You already know.
Probably most of the players.
Exactly.
I'm actually really excited to kick it. I mean, Richard, Perk, those guys.
Yeah.
Cass is terrific. Like, we got some fun folks on the team. You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait to be like, she ready. Let's go. Tiffany Haddish. We see you, sis. So it's good.
It's going to be great. Okay, so before that, we have some NBA Rewind to get to. So let's get to it. And we start with best pep talk. So Russell Westbrook was benched at the end of the third quarter. The Lakers blowout loss to the Bucks. He gave LeBron and AD a little pep talk, but they didn't seem to be feeling it. Like, what's going on with this? What's this interaction about?
So this is body language, bro, if you don't get off me.
It's like when you have a group project and like the guy who's doing the least is like, we can do this, guys. It's like, what would you know about this?
Ooh, this is definitely like, if you don't get on my face, like, stop
Bro,
me.
there's something going on. Please.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel that.
And hindsight, being 2020, when we got the post-game sound from Russ, I was like, oh, that doesn't sound as good
Start
as
to
you might
understand
have
a little bit.
thought.
Yeah, a little bit. Into the
It feels like
dynamic.
it's collapsing all at once. Because a couple weeks ago, it was like Frank Vogel. He was kind of the scapegoat.
Right.
Now it's like Russell. It's all coming down to Russell Westbrook all at once right now.
I tell you what, the honest comment should have been, sometimes Giannis just does that to other people. Like,
Exactly.
That happens
Exactly.
too.
We talked about this, I think, on Saturday when we were on Hoop Streams. We were like, these are the vets. They should be able to communicate very well. What in the world? These old men can't communicate. They've been playing basketball for a very long time. You would expect
Hey,
that.
man, I have a lot of issues with this Lakers roster, but yesterday was about Giannis.
That's very true. That's very true. So give him his props. All right, let's go on to best autograph. So I've seen a lot of strange autographs. But somebody asked Austin Reeves to sign a rice cooker.
Is there a story behind this? Does Austin Reeves love rice?
I would, first of all, that rice cooker looks very small. That's the first thing.
You don't need a lot of carbs, Christine.
But
rice is not the
I feel
main
like
dish.
My rice cooker is like this big, and I cook
have
rice for weeks.
I have a spaceship rice cooker.
I don't have a rice cooker and cannot cook rice. Quinoa, team quinoa.
Okay, rice cookers make your rice cooking easier. That's the point of it.
Team quinoa. Did I say that?
You just like dump the rice and you put some water and then you
Yeah,
hit the on
you just
button.
put the do-do-do-do-do.
Are you insulting me?
You said you can cook.
I can't cook rice, and I don't have a
That's
rice
like saying
cooker.
you can't boil water.
I can't cook grits either. Something about starches and like they don't just.
But you can do
I
quinoa.
just mastered oatmeal not too long ago,
Quinoa is actually pretty hard, so I'm actually impressed with that.
and it's Beyonce ate quinoa after Blue, and she got fierce again.
Snapbacks. Okay. Let's move on to calmest poster. Jaylen Brown dunked all over Mo Bamba. Okay. But apparently,
Oh,
he was
my
just
word.
Like, how tall is Mo Bamba?
Oh, my
What, like
word. 7 foot at least.
Yeah, at least 7 feet. And Jalen
my
Brown's like,
word.
whatever, this is easy.
Oh, my word.
Something I think about with Mo Bamba all the time is like
The song?
it's not just the song, it's the fact that like when he's 40 years old, like the way that his NBA career trajectory is going right now, like
It wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
people
He's
are
young.
probably gonna remember him more for the song
He's still
than
young.
I love Mo so much. He's such
But do you know how hard it is to have a memorable NBA career to the average fan?
That's true.
To be fair, having a memorable song is more rare than having a memorable NBA career.
Exactly. That's very true.
There it
so
is.
at least he's known for he's very famous for that.
Perspective.
People that don't even watch hoops are singing Mo Bamba.
Most people who don't watch hoops know what Mo Bamba is.
Exactly.
They might not know that he's actually a hooper.
A person. Right. They might just.
I remember hearing
Is that
that
a
song.
good thing or a bad thing?
So it was reversed for me because I remember hearing the song and being like, "Is this about Mo Bamba? Like the basketball player in Texas?"
It's
Like,
actually crazy because when you think about Mo Bamba as a person, and then who's the rapper that sings the song?
Check West.
there you
Sheck West.
go.
Okay, so literally.
It's also
thinking
Sheck
about
West's
them
only
two
song.
as friends is right. The only like the only
One-time
banger.
wonder.
When you think about those two as friends, like Mo Bamba, this nice, like soft-spoken, gentle person who's like really into whatever, and then you have Sheck West who's like,
And you got the
so I'm
hard
like, how are
trap.
these
Wait,
guys
Wait,
friends?
Shaq West was like, what?
He's like,
Let's move on.
Is that an adjective?
Biggest.
We need to get that one in the dictionary immediately. Immediately.
How do you spell that?
You guys didn't know that I was a rapper, did you? Okay.
I did know that.
Suns versus
Oh
Bulls.
my God.
So Devin Booker has a lot of issues with mascots on free throws, and Benny the Bull tried to distract him, and he was escorted out by, those are not real police if you guys can't
The
tell.
fun police.
Those are the fun police. So what's up with D-Book and mascots?
You shouldn't be distracted by mascots
I
if
hate
you're that
mascots.
good.
Mascots are the worst.
Listen, I think if you hate mascots,
Mascots are scary.
would you like to lay on the couch and have therapy? Over
I
it?
would, honestly. They're scary.
Is it like a clown thing?
Like no Chuck E. Cheese for you as a
You
kid?
also not like clowns?
Listen, you guys, Monty, you should know this. Actually, Joon, you should know this too if you follow me on Instagram.
I do know this story.
I'm afraid of things that are large and shaped like I just can't deal with. I
Like
had a thing
large
with a lamp.
things?
Can you tolerate a wax museum?
Probably, but those are humans, right? And
Most
they're
of
like
the time.
a little bit smaller. I just don't like inanimate looking things where their faces can't move, but they have a face.
So like no natural history museum in DC.
It's weird.
what about,
no,
like, what
I
about-
don't like big, large
Yeah,
things.
okay.
No,
What about like the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic?
those are worse because those are moving, but
We
their
are-
faces are like.
We are so off. we're like,
Okay, sorry, we just went on the longest tangent. Okay, let's go on to hottest.
I'm never gonna be invited.
basketball
We're not gonna be invited back because clearly we take her in tangents.
D'Angelo Russell.
Did he shoot? Yes, I can shoot.
Okay, so D'Angelo Russell got caught while being mic'd up, asking if Pelicans rook Jose Alvarado could shoot, and that's how it went. And then D'Angelo Russell decided to say no disrespect, just wanted to know.
Okay, let me give my Jose Alvarado testimony.
Uh-huh.
I regularly sit on the New York Knicks broadcast.
Yeah.
Jose Alvarado is from the Bronx, I believe. I hope I didn't mess up the B's. He is from New York. I can say that confidently. He torched the Knicks. So yes, he can
Man
shoot.
can shoot.
He said that with his like chest too. He
I mean,
was
that's
like,
what you're
"Yeah, I
supposed to
can
say.
shoot."
Yeah, absolutely.
But like some people say that and it's not convincing. Like he made it convincing.
The only thing that would have been better is for him to take 2 dribbles, pull up, and then respond.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
that? Like that looked good to you, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm still thinking about mascots. Anyways, yes, I love that.
I still think
Mascots and
mascots are like this.
The ghost of Chuck E. Cheese is just haunting you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we now welcome in Jalen Rose off the bench, and we're going to talk a little NBA trade deadline because the trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we have some trades that have already went down, and we want to get your thoughts on them, starting with the Blazers, because the Blazers traded C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell to the Pels for Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Thomas Satoransky, and a future first-round pick and 2 future second-round picks. So let's start with the Blazers side of things in this situation. Portland is breaking up the Dame CJ duo to clear enough cap space to build around Lillard. But Lillard has been in the league for 10 years, right? It's been a decade. Is it too late to want to stick around for a soft build around Damian Lillard?
Yes, and a couple of things that interest me when I saw the trade happen. I affectionately called the Portland Trail Blazers backcourt Mama's Boys because, like myself, They both were raised by their moms. They're really close to her, blah, 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 blah. Terrific relationships. And it interests me to see Dame say, we knew this was coming. Because for so very long, many pundits in the media, including myself, while I really love Dame as an all-NBA caliber player when he's healthy, and even an MVP candidate, he catapulted himself in the top 10 status over the last couple of years. And CJ McCollum, he's a certified bucket. He averages 25 points in a game in the league. He's a 50, 40, 90 guy. And so when Dame says he felt like they were going to get broken up, it reminded me of why I said it. It just defensively they couldn't continue to get stops, and then their scoring wasn't balanced by anything on the interior. Nurkic is too inconsistent. And so now you move CJ, which that is great for him, by the way. He's going to fit right in with the Pelicans. But since we're talking about the Blazers side of this, they need to go to Dame with a blank check and say, here you go. Take this 2 years, $100 million deal and be patient with us and see what we can do with this salary cap space this offseason, because it doesn't seem like he's going to come back and play this year anyway.
Jalen, another trade that obviously sent shockwaves across the NBA was Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, going to Indiana, and Domantas Sabonis going to Sacramento. I'm curious, when you get that Woj bomb, what is the reaction that comes across you as you see Tyrese Halliburton, surprisingly going to Indiana?
Monica, you'll appreciate this. So, there's so many times when we at these games and watching these games and playing these games where you like to look deeper into the box score and find that diamond in the rough. Or that player that people sleeping on that you y'all don't know, but John Moran is about to be that deal. And then all of a sudden, boom, I saw you, Monica, and Perk. I was with y'all. Picking them to make the playoffs.
It was a trio.
Last year.
Yes, indeed.
And beat the Golden State Warriors. And I bring that up because that's how I see Halliburton. I'm a Detroit native. I wanted us to take him in the draft. I think he's a really good player. And so when I see this trade, the first thing I'm thinking is, if you're the Kings and you know Halliburton can play and you got De'Aaron Fox, why are you trading him? That's the first thing I'm thinking. I thought the goal was to actually win. And then the second thing is, Buddy Hield is a flamethrower. When you start talking about best, who makes the most threes in the NBA, if you ask the casual, they won't name Buddy Hield, but he's usually amongst the league leaders in three-pointers made. And on the flip side for the Kings, Sabonis is a free agent after this year. Can he opt out and walk? And so he can leave them. And I know for them, they feel like we got his bird rights, we get that extra year, maybe get a sign and trade, but that's still rolling the dice. And so for Indiana, I like what they did, but it's still head-scratching for the Sacramento Kings.
So from one head-scratching decision to one that was made last offseason with the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook, what do you see happening with this situation, especially as they go to the deadline? Russ is obviously just not working out right now and how he mixes in with LeBron and AD and Carmelo. What is your take on what is happening there and what the Lakers need to do moving forward? Is there even a solution to making this better?
Right track, wrong train. I think I heard that growing up a couple of times. Russ can still be a productive player. But you know what Russ need? He need the ball. And when he ain't got the ball to be the dominant offensive creator in the half court, he can't get a rhythm. And if he can't get a rhythm, at times he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle shooting the ball. He's going to struggle with his pace. He's going to have high turnovers. But when you play with LeBron James and you play with Anthony Davis, you ain't going to have the ball. And so the solution for me, Russ got to be a substitute now. And I know playing at home, when we signed up and we saw the big three being formed, this ain't how we envisioned those big two, AD and LeBron. Third player would be Malik Monk, who's been awesome this year. I think you now bring Russ off the bench, help him rebuild his confidence. This game is still about being a productive player with your confidence. Give him a chance to go against some second-line guys. He's still going to be very productive. And then if and when you build his confidence back up by bringing him off the bench, guess what happens? When he get up off the bench, they're going to cheer now. You see what I'm saying? The psychological thing that's going to happen with the fans. When he get off the bench in his hometown, a future Hall of Famer that can steal ball, they're going to actually cheer Monica. And now when he gets in the game, if he does something, he can have a chance to finish the game. And if he doesn't do anything, then he'll end watching the game just like us.
So before I get put off the show, because I'm just visiting Jalen, but I do have this one question. I feel like we knew exactly who Russ was when he joined this team. Now, granted, we all thought he would be a little bit more productive, but I was so disappointed, candidly, that he was still the leading headline after they got manhandled by Giannis Antetokounmpo. The entire team, 1 through 12, however many people got in the game, that was not a Russ problem. So has Russ become a scapegoat?
I like what you did there. And see, this is what I love about team sports, right? Because Russ wasn't guarding Giannis. That was AD. And by the way, Giannis was extremely dominant, regardless of who was checking him. I believe it's easy to put blame on him, but in a salary cap driven sport, you need your highest paid players to not only be your leaders and your most professional performers, but you need them to be the most productive players you have on your team. Okay. And so if LeBron's going to still play at an all-NBA level, and AD's been as dominant as he's been coming back from injury, and Malik Monk has stepped up his game, Monica, you got to look at Russ and be like, you're not pulling your weight right now. And so to me, that decision now leads to him coming off the bench.
Okay, let's finish things off with, last but not least, well, I honestly might as well just call this the absolute most, and talk about Ben Simmons, James Harden, and I like how Wendy said it on .com. He said it's the wildest game of chicken ever. So do you think that this trade will happen before the deadline?
I'll just tell you guys this. I was disappointed and disgusted the way James Harden showed up at training camp in Houston and was there 9 games, and he basically forced his way out and got to the Nets. Now he's with the Nets and he's still unhappy? And the same for Ben Simmons. Like, you struggled in the playoffs, y'all got bounced. They can't trade you and get real value early in the season if you ain't playing. That math just don't add up. And you know what else he then does? In theory, sabotages Philly's chances to actually win a championship this year. Because we know Joel Embiid has a really good chance to win MVP. But you know what else we also know? They ain't winning the East without Ben Simmons. And so with that being said, I don't believe the trade happens before the deadline. And here's why. They have Kevin Durant on the Nets. And their big three has only played together twice this year. He has to feel like, let me get healthy. Let us try this at least one time. And if we come up short and James opt out, then everybody go their separate ways. And also, you don't know what Ben Simmons you're getting at this point of February in the NBA season. To me, you got to get him in the building. You got to, get him introduced to the coaches. You got to build his confidence back up. You got to get him shooting shots outside of the paint, too, by the way. And so there's a lot of things you have to do, and I think that's an off-season thing that works best to me if you're trying to interject him in the Nets, a team that has win it all at all costs right now aspirations.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like nobody wants Ben Simmons on their team right now.
Because there's an elephant in the paint.
I just like imagining Harden walking to Barclays Center going, I don't want to be here!
Exactly. That's obviously
June, he is entirely too cool for that. Something like that, yes.
Well, thanks so much, Jalen, for joining us and giving us some of your insight. And also bringing the hair,
Appreciate
because I
the
know
love.
you and Monty are holding it down right now.
4C, shout out to the 4C pattern.
Thanks, Jalen.
No doubt. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Malika Andrews, host of NBA Today, and tomorrow, February 10th, tune into our NBA trade deadline special from 1 to 4 Eastern. We'll have all the Woj bombs, including our top NBA analysts with insight on all the trades around the league. So tomorrow, catch NBA Today from 1 to 4 Eastern on ESPN.
The 1975 NBA Finals featured the Al Attles-led Warriors versus the Casey Jones-led Washington Bullets, marking the first championship in American major professional sports history to feature 2 black coaches. Led by Hall of Famer Rick Barry, the Warriors swept Elvin Hayes and the Bullets 4 games to none, the team's last title until 2015.
Okay, so in 1988, the NBA decided to expand. It added a franchise in Charlotte, and Alexander Julian, an artist, was brought in to design the uniforms, and they were iconic. They still are iconic today. They're very bold, great. The way he was paid, however, is odd.
Well, there are the uniforms designed by the New York designer. They are pleated. They are teal blue and white. What is the league coming to, folks?
The Charlotte Hornets showed up in the NBA with a real buzz, pardon the pun. Their groundbreaking uniforms were a large part of that. This is the story of how those threads came to be. In the late 1980s, Alexander Julian was rocking and rolling. The NBA had come calling, specifically a new franchise in Charlotte.
He said, we've just got this franchise. We think you'd be perfect to design the uniforms. We love your sense of design, and we want to be the most fashionable uniforms that have ever been in the NBA.
And next thing you know, we were blessed with arguably one of the most iconic uniforms in league history.
What do you think of those uniforms?
I love them. Pretty, I like that.
You gonna come back again?
I'd love to.
Julian picked how he got paid for this project, and he didn't choose money. Instead, he picked something near and dear to him, Carolina barbecue. Really. Instead of ownership of the designs, which because of NBA licensing deals was more of a headache than he really needed or cared for, he got creative.
I called him up and I said, George, I will trade you ownership of the Hornets uniform designs for 5 pounds of Carolina barbecue a month to be FedEx to me in Connecticut. Well, he jumped on it like a wet, dirty t-shirt. The headline was Hoop Couture. Julian does pro uniforms and is paid in pork.
Let's assess this trade with the benefit of hindsight.
Nobody thought the uniforms were going to be a huge seller, and no one predicted that. So, to trade 5% royalty on sales of the uniform copies for 5 pounds of barbecue, it didn't seem to be a lot in it at the time, right? We added it up with the runaway success of the uniforms. I basically traded $10 million for a gut. Right here.
Okay, so we're bringing in Clinton Yates to talk about this because, this has got to be barbecue. You get paid in barbecue. That has to be the worst contract negotiation ever in the entire history of the world. Is it not? Is that not the worst?
Come on, did you see that man in the luxury that he was styling in? He does not need $10 million. I'm being facetious, but that's how he explained it. He basically said, I don't want to deal with whatever all this nonsense is. I'm from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I live in Connecticut. I don't get good barbecue. Hook me up. I thought it was funny. Talk about commitment to the bit, Joon. This dude took it all the way.
Oh, my God.
But just imagine how much barbecue you could buy with $10 million.
Exactly.
It's so much barbecue. Clinton, I want to know.
You wouldn't know that it was $10 million until after.
Yeah, at the time.
The guy was, yearning for his hometown. Everybody
it's the potential, though. Like. You never know. You never know with these kinds of things. But also, given that you're doing this whole thing on uniforms, I want to know what retro uniform that you would bring back in the course of NBA history right now. What is the one design that sticks out in your mind that you want back in the NBA today?
I'm going to play to my base here, and I'm going to bring up the Washington Bullets.
Let's go.
Back in the day, they had one of the most basic but clean looks. The white was just pristine. The shorts were tremendous. It had the jersey. It had the logo right across the chest, just like this one, but it wasn't all crazy and out of there. It was just plain dope. I would love to see that franchise wear those exact ones every once in a while. Not like, they wear now, where they've got a new uniform every year and they all look ridiculous.
Yeah. They all do look ridiculous. I would also like to point out that I second that choice. Shout out to the DMV, the DC area. We love it. Also, that I think I might be paid in Midwood Barbecue. That's like my favorite barbecue place in Charlotte. I would admit that.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, and also, there are foods I would gladly be paid for things in. I don't know that I would trade off a jersey design for it, but if somebody else wanted to make sure that I was paid every week in one of my favorite foods, I would take it. Sidebar.
What's the food?
About this guy, he's also the guy that put pinstripes on polo shirts, not just jerseys. He's that actual dude, Alex Jones.
Oh.
Okay, now what's the food? What can we pay you in for coming on Home Straight?
Probably tuna rolls, sushi rolls.
I really
like tuna rolls.
Okay. That's a
Honestly,
bourgeois.
that's not what I expected.
That's bourgeois. I think it's kind of on brand for Yates, actually.
It's not filling.
Yes, eat enough.
That's true.
you got
If
a
enough
lot
to
of
just be
carbs.
paid in it,
Eat
then
enough.
I guess you do
You
have
get them every day.
It's a whole sidebar. You got to watch your mercury levels if you get paid in that. But let's continue on because Yates, you're doing fantastic, stylish work on Threads. What else? What other kind of behind-the-scenes nuggets on the fits we love do you have in store?
Well, I'm not giving away too much, but let's just say we're going north for the next episode, and that might involve creatures that were no longer roaming the earth. That would be, of course, the Toronto Raptors.
I was going to guess
like,
that. I was there.
Okay, first of all, I thought you meant we were going back to that time when dinosaurs were roaming the earth. But okay. Anyways, the guy that loves tuna rolls, thank you so much for joining us on Hoop Shoes Today. You can watch Threads on the YouTube channel on ESPN. Thanks a lot for all of your insight.
Always, gang. Good to see you.
Listen, it is time for the main attraction. I just want to be very clear that I did not hear the part about going up north. All I heard is about the dinosaurs roaming the earth, so I got a little confused. So please,
you are
leave me alone.
also.
Anyway,
Now I want to see a Jurassic Park
Jersey
Space Jam crossover. I want to see a jersey big enough that fits a dinosaur.
On a mascot, just for Christy.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. That would be absolutely
Or get the Toronto
worst possible
Raptors
thing.
mascot jersey
gosh.
for Christine.
Let's go Bulls Hornets. How about we do that instead? Because I'm over the mascots and dinosaurs. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, man.
Anyways, let's talk about this game because this is our main attraction. And offensively, this Bulls team has been absolutely balling. The thing that's actually crazy, I read this note that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are actually the highest scoring duo in the entire league, but they're a hair ahead of Michael Jordan and Charles Oakley, which is insane. So when you think about this, Monica, I'll start with you. Was this expected? Could we have expected this going into the NBA season?
Girl, nah. And if anybody tell you otherwise, they is lying. A capital L, capital Y, and an I, and an E. And it, like, they are lying. This was probably the most talked about in, I mean, like the hood kind of way, like joned on, cracked on trade when it happened in the offseason. And the opportunity that I had to cover the Bulls and Warriors game, DeMar flat out said he heard all of that. And like he felt like he knew the work that he had done in San Antonio and where he was in his career. And he compared the opportunity right now in Chicago to being on a beach. He said it just feels right and he's at peace.
Well, I think on top of that too, it required two different things to happen. It required LaVine taking another step as a star player, being able to be a number one or a number two on a high-level playoff team, but also required DeMar DeRozan like wanting to shoot more threes to create more space on the floor. And like there was no expectation that both of those things could happen. I think a reasonable expectation going into the season was that maybe one of those things could happen and they could maybe climb up the standings of the Eastern Conference. But having both of those things happen is why the Bulls are in the position that they are.
Right, let's talk about the other side of the ball then, because defensively they're doing just enough to not screw up what they're doing offensively, right? They don't have Lonzo Ball. They don't have Alex Caruso. They lost 3 of their last 4 games. Do you feel like they're doing enough defensively to be able to hold their standing in the East?
I think that they are, but I also think some of the confusion atop the East helps them. Obviously, like the Bucks, I feel like as of late, the Bucks have turned it on. We know what's happening in Brooklyn. I was looking at defensive ratings. They're sort of middle of the pack, but in terms of the defensive side of the ball, I think in the East, like Miami and Cleveland are significantly higher than where the Bulls are, but not any of the rest of those teams so much. So I think that they're holding on. And I think Miami's the team to watch, though.
Yeah, I think Miami's just ridiculous. They're so consistent, too, on a night-to-night basis. And I think it's hard to understate how important Alex Caruso was for the defensive chemistry of this Bulls team. I mean, he added so much coming off of the bench, being kind of the spark plug guy who's, huge defensively. And I think you see the flip side of that with how the Lakers have been doing without Caruso, where Caruso was kind of a glue guy on the defensive end for them over the course of, the last couple seasons. And so I think that Caruso loss is a really big deal for the Bulls and kind of the long-term kind of outlook for this team.
Now, they will say, though, because I'm like, all right, Caruso's out, and they all admit he covers a multitude of sins defensively, as does Lonzo Ball. But if Javonte Green can get going, that's the guy that a lot of those guys said to me that he's an X factor. Billy Donovan said the same thing. And I also think that in all of this, Billy Donovan has been underrated. Like, he should be more vocally in the conversation for Coach of the Year. And what I thought was really cool in talking with Billy Donovan is he is one who's like, I've been in the league 7 years. These guys have been in the league 13. It would be foolish of me not to lean on their expertise and experience in terms of how we make it work best as Chicago Bulls together. So, yeah.
All right, let's go to the Hornets side of the things, right? They've been struggling defensively as well. They're currently 9th in the East, despite having the 2nd highest scoring offense in the entire league, right? Do we feel like this team is a playoff team?
I mean, if we're talking about like playing team, are we counting that as a playoff team?
That could count. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, they're like, they're in the mix of the conversation, but they're clearly missing like a defensive anchor on that team that helps kind of keep everything together. Because right now, the guy who sets the tone defensively, or just for the team in general, is LaMelo. And we all know that LaMelo is not the greatest perimeter defender. He's got a lot of work he needs to do in order to kind of take that next step as a defender. That's what is missing right now with this team, because they've obviously got a lot of offensive spark plug talents between Bridges and Oubre and Terry Rozier. But they are missing something on that defensive end, which I think something that they can address in the upcoming offseason.
Or the trade deadline. Sure. I will be curious. Now, I know Miles Turner had been loosely linked. Indiana obviously has already detonated their squad, and so I think Miles Turner stays put. But I do wonder, is there a guy that fits that may be available? I'm curious to see what the Wizards are going to do. Bradley Beal obviously, we've done a lot of sidebars in the show. I promise I'll bring this back. Bradley Beal obviously is done for the season. I don't know that the Wizards are going to attempt to build around him, but you look at a guy like Thomas Bryant or Daniel Gafford, guys that like own the defensive side of the ball. Maybe.
Okay, let's talk offensively, because LaMelo Ball is going to be in the All-Star game. He is one of the youngest in the history of the All-Star game, which is insane. But like, also when I think about LaMelo, I still think of him in high school, so it's very weird. Anyways,
he's still a 14-year-old.
Yes,
shooting half-court shots.
I'm like, how is he so tall? I don't get it.
I think of that neon suit that matched his car.
That's exactly.
How do you get a suit that matches a car? Like, do you buy the suit first, or do you buy the car first?
You have to have a really good stylist, I feel like.
You also have to have all the bread like that LaMelo has.
Yeah.
We can't relate. We just can't relate.
Exactly. So anyways.
The best I can do is get matching blacks.
Black on black on black. Everything's black. No, it's not that hard to get a matching car to your suit. Just wear black. But what do we expect out of LaMelo Ball's second half of his sophomore season?
This is where it gets real.
Yeah, I want to see him kind of take even more of the kind of offensive mental. Like, obviously, he's a guy who's going to potentially average a triple-double at some point in his career. He has the potential to do all of that. But I want him to kind of take a little bit more of the offensive workload, too, and become... he's averaging around 17 points a game right now. I think that he could probably up that number a little bit. But I want to see him also take strides defensively, too, because I think that that's really important for this Hornets team being able to take this kind of foundation to the next level.
I guess the answer to me is, do I expect them to have the same record in the second half of the season? I think they probably drop more games because they are a young team. You're going to have teams that are serious about getting in playoff position, and the East is
Look at that
happening.
Stop.
I didn't know Supreme had balaclavas.
I told you we don't have his wallet. We don't know about a lot of things.
That's scary.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a little scared.
Is it like a mascot?
I honestly, no.
A dinosaur with a balaclava.
Not like a mascot, but I do want to say, I don't know if you guys noticed this because you guys were probably all staring at his, whatever was going on in his head, but he looked like he had some velvet pants on. I'm always into like a velvet pants situation, velvet. I love leather. Yeah, like a texture. It's like a good situation. So at least that was a little stylish. I don't know what's going on.
Also, the balaclava matches his car and the suit. Like, if he also
he has a lot going on. Prediction?
I got the Bulls tonight.
Bulls.
Okay, yeah, me too. Anyways, we have a game to watch. Literally, right. We already know what's going to happen here. Actually, you know what? I'll just say the Hornets just for their sake, because I feel like that's not fair.
But don't do that. Come on.
You're right. They're gonna lose.
Anyways. Devil's advocate for no reason.
Bulls Hornets right now at 7:30 p.m. It's already past that, so 4 minutes after that game. If you're not watching it already, go watch it right now. You can watch it in the app if you're watching this on the app. Also, we got the first NBA women's-led broadcast happening right after that. It's Warriors, Jazz. Anyways, watch all the basketball.
Sarah Gaillero, Lori Privitero, all the behind-the-scenes folks. Have a great broadcast tonight, y'all.
Bye, guys.